so tired. So what you're looking at right now is somebody that is out of time. I am out of time, and what I mean by that is I set a standard every day to make a video and do a live stream. A few weeks back, kind of announced it with a live stream. Today it ends. Today is my last day of laziness, but today I am out of time. So what you're looking at right now is someone who doesn't feel motivated to do something, but is still doing something. So when you guys always ask me, what do you do when you're not motivated, Josh? I just do it anyways. That is what this looks like right now. Now, does that mean that I'm not enjoying this? I'm enjoying doing it right now. Did I have the motivation to get to do this, to get to sit down in this chair and set this up and set these lights up and talk about this? No, not really. I wasn't motivated to do it, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy doing it. Making this kind of challenge to myself every day to make a video forces me to be creative, get better at talking to the camera, get better at expressing myself, get better at writing bullet pointed lists that I glance off of every now and then. It's something challenging that I like to do. So before you start thinking, hey Josh, you're gonna burn out, you better slow down, this is not sustainable, I have plenty of ideas. I was gonna do a skit, I was gonna do a day in the life, because Patrick is here from Lambda School. You guys have seen the series, like he's here, he's in the other room, he's sleeping, and he's like, good night Josh, and I was like, dude, I still have to film a video. And I got plenty of ideas to do, but I'm out of time, but I'm holding myself to the standard of doing one piece of content every day, even though it isn't exactly what I want. Sometimes you just have to show up, and that's what this video is. Sometimes you just have to show up. There are other videos that I'm like more mentally invested in that I think that would be more funny or just fun for me to make in general, but that's not the case. I have an hour left until the end of the day to get this video up and to go live, and that's what I'm gonna do. As much as I want to say, I don't feel like it, I don't want to do this, I'm bored, I'll just wait till tomorrow, here I am, I'm just showing up. And let me just acknowledge, I realize this video is super meta. I know you've been there. Like you wonder what it looks like. Like, how do you stay so motivated to keep doing all these things, Josh? Wow, you're really putting in that hustle. Wow, you just so Look, this is real talk right now, with me to you. This is what this looks like when people do things that they don't feel motivated to do initially, then they do it now, and now I'm just fine. Now everything's good. I should have done this earlier in the day. And so that brings me to wanting to talk about time management for a second, and how I mentioned this before in a failed video of like how when your actions don't line up with your thoughts, and as soon as you set a little goal of I'm gonna clean the house, and then you offset that and you don't do that first step, it just sets, it's just domino effect, and then it's just boom, procrastination, and you never ever do it. So you keep setting these goals, but you don't ever hit that first step, which I have found to cause me major issues. For example, last night I was gonna clean the house right after the live stream, but I was like, oh, I'm just really tired, let me just sit down for a second. And then I got on Reddit for 20 minutes, and that turned into 3 hours, and then I went to sleep a lot later than I thought, and then I was late to wake up and clean my house, and I didn't end up cleaning my house at all. And then Patrick came over, he's like, yo dude, what up? And I was like, yeah, you're gonna sleep in here, but I don't have any like clean sheets and stuff for you to like sleep on, because I didn't clean my house and do the laundry. And so it's just like this domino effect where it caused my time to go haywire. After you do it the first time, after you skip that first little step of saying, oh, just let me sit down for like 20 minutes. That's it, you're done. That's the justification for the next set of excuses you're gonna get until you finally sit down or something happens that makes you do what you need to do. You wanna come pull up? He heard me making this video. So the hardest part, I think, is probably not actually sitting here and doing this video. It's like everything else leading up to that. Patrick, wouldn't you agree with that statement, that the hardest part is not actually doing the code? It's just waking up in the morning, getting dressed and like getting ready, and then showing up, and then once you sit down on your desk and you hit that first key on your keyboard, it's easy from there on out until you go home. But everything else is just like dreadful and anxious.
Long and drawn out.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's 1,000 things I'd rather be doing. I'd rather be hanging out with you. I'd rather be sleeping right now. I would rather be mainly sleeping because I'm really tired. So there are days when I've done it right. There are days when I've done it right. When you're in class and the professor gives you that project and it's like 6 weeks ahead of when it's due, super good, because you're like, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get that done, I'm gonna get that out of the way. And then you get it done, you get it out of the way, you're just like, oh, this is great. Way ahead of everybody else. And I've had those days where I say, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna do this thing. What I say I'm gonna do when I get back home almost never happens, because this is where like the work happens. So if I'm at the gym and I say, I'm gonna come back home and I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna come back home, I'm gonna make this course, I'm gonna come back home, I'm gonna do this video or do this skit or something like that. And it almost never happens, because when I'm out and about, that's when for me, it's when I'm driving. Whenever I'm driving, I have like my purest, clearest thoughts of whatever it is that I'm trying to do. I know that I should be doing, and then whenever I get back here, for some reason, I'm just like, ugh. But it all comes down to this point of decision making where you decide to do the work, and it's really kind of metaphysical concept, or this thing that you can't really describe, but like it's the moment when you're like, you take, like, I don't know how else to describe it besides you're like, all right, let me do it real quick, even if it's not real quick. That moment when you're like, all right, fine, whatever that moment is, that is a major winning moment. And once you can identify the most vulnerable point in that moment, the make or break point, the tipping point of whatever it is that could push you in this direction just a little bit more, that's when you can win. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. There's a couple techniques that I use, and they're from books that I read. And I've talked about making book reviews, but I don't think book reviews in themselves really do a whole lot. Instead, I'd rather tell you guys about an issue that I'm having, and then talk about ways that I've used books to help me get out of those issues, or at least move forward in life somehow, move over something that happened in the past. So the first book is called Atomic Habits, and he talks about the 2-minute rule. So that basically means sit down and do something for 2 minutes and then get up. So tell yourself, reverse psychology. That's what I do. That's what works for me the most, in combination with the 5-second rule, which I'll talk to in just a second. The 2-minute rule, just simple reverse psychology, just a simple mental little trick. Yes, I acknowledge it's a mental little trick, but just, 120 seconds, then you're free to leave. And I'm always good. That's all it takes. Just 2 minutes just to sit here and get what I need to done, start the setup, get everything going, and I'm good. And I don't really want to stop. And now I can keep talking and I can keep filming. And so the 2-minute rule has probably been like one of the biggest lifesavers for being productive that I've encountered. And the second one that I mentioned just a second ago is called the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. Essentially a whole book about how you count backwards from 5, and then at the last one, you do the thing that you're supposed to do. And the whole premise behind it is that counting backwards from 5 engages your brain in a way that counting forward to 5 doesn't do it. And then she goes over all these examples and all these scientific studies about how this works. And I don't want to say something dumb or misquote something, so I'll leave it to you guys to go read the book. But the 5-second rule helps me when I wake up, and the 2-minute rule helps me to get things done. So you can go check out those books if you want. And then finally, there's this thing called Death Ground Strategy. And we're all familiar with Death Ground Strategy if you've ever had the school assignments before. That's when you get an assignment, and then you wait until the last night to do it, and then you cram it in because you have to, because it's pretty much do or die to pass this class, and then you end up doing a bunch of crappy work anyways. But Death Ground Strategy can be used ahead of time to get something done. Yeah, so that book is called The 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene, where you basically burn the boats. That's where you sink or swim. And for me, that motivates me a lot in life. And so for me, when I say things very pro-entrepreneurship that kind of burn the boats with, working with companies and stuff like that is an example of Death Ground Strategy, just burning the boats and then sink or swim. And I have already, kind of accepted what it would be like if I were to sink. And it's not that bad. So the only real option left is to just swim. For me, that kind of pressure lights a fire, and that works. And how you can utilize this is basically just set a timer. So I set timers. I'm like, all right, this is how much time I'm giving myself, and I'm pressing go at the end of whenever this timer ends. That's it. I'm done. This is going out no matter what. Don't cheat. Don't let yourself cheat. That's the Death Ground Strategy, and that's kind of what this video is right now. I have it's 10:55 right now. Some people get overwhelmed and they get flustered and they just give up. I won't let myself do that, because my standard is here. And I know this is where I want to be, and everything I need to do is just consistency. You are what you repeatedly do. To get better at this, to just keep my word for my own self, I'll be able to sleep better at night because I did the thing that I said I was going to do in my head, which is one video, one live stream, and then even if this video does terrible, I know that I've completed it. I know that there's some value in this to help other people, and to, if you're out there procrastinating by watching this video, hey, now you know what to do. Go do it for 2 minutes, and then tell yourself you can stop. But if you're out there and you set yourself to something, go do it. You'll sleep a lot better at night. Success to me, again, is when my actions line up with these thoughts. And so I know I'm going to go to bed. If I didn't do this video, I'd just sit there and I'd look at my phone, and I know in the back of my head, I'd be like, Josh, you could just do two videos tomorrow and 2 live streams. Yeah, that'll work. That's not acceptable. That's not okay. I have to hold myself to this standard, just like Casey Neistat held himself to 1 vlog every single day, no matter what it was. Even Even one of them was like, he went to like the DMV and he's like, hey guys, I'm at the DMV renewing my license. It's like, he admits that's like his worst vlog, but he showed up to work and he put in the work. And that's what this video is. This is me showing up, putting in the work. I need to plan my time. I need to manage my time a lot better. We all have 1,000 things we'd rather be doing, a lot more fun things, a lot more things that'd be more comfortable on us. And just because it's comfortable doesn't mean it's what we should do. And so I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.